Hello friends, welcome back. Let's take a look at Ethereum. So where are we in terms of Ethereum and what have we got on the go? Well, we've been looking at this for the last wee while and you can see the death cross has actually happened. Had the prices managed to make it above the 200 simple and the 50 simple moving average over there, a few days ago, maybe we might have been talking about a different story, but here we are, the death cross has happened. The interesting thing about this death cross, of course, with the price action being so close to it at the time, is that it doesn't have to traverse an awfully long way in order to sort of test the 200. We could see that, which could be kind of a bit better in terms of the longer term and how this particular cross maybe plays out. Indeed, including the idea that it could actually uncross again relatively sooner than it otherwise would. So all that sort of jazz, we'll have to keep an eye out for it. We're in a sort of wedge potentially here. In this sort of formation here, we normally have a sort of downward side target to play off the back of it. Of course, let's not forget that we had a conversation just a wee while ago with somebody else who was saying they thought we were in a wedge back here, and then this, we broke out of this area. We're back inside of that sort of phony wedge that there was there. We're still inside this one here. Let's just see how this sort of pans out in the longer term. Am I particularly positive about this? Well, not really. Particularly negative about it? Well, not really either. But we have to see how this 155 area holds up. Is what we're talking about. Whether or not we can go up here past the 50 moving average. 170 again becomes this sort of crucial. This becomes more crucial than otherwise it has been lately, given that you've got the 200 in there, you've got the 50 in there. If you get up to this 177 area and you can hold it, then you're doing 2 for 1 compared to last week when you were just getting up there and testing these averages. Now you'd actually be going up there and seeing if you can manage to make a break on them. So that'd be interesting. Let's try and keep an eye out for that. Overall, though, of course, as well, diminishing volume, generally speaking, a little bit of an uptake here, but over the sort of on aggregate, it's still down the way. And yeah, this overall, it's not looking fantastic. But the 21 has started curving right up here, coming up underneath the current price action. The 55 still got a slight down curve as we're coming up towards it. Maybe we'll see those cross. Maybe it'll all sort of kind of spreading out in a way, and we'll get a better, clearer picture of things right now. But in the minute, we're sort of in the kill zone, where there's crossfire, and we have to look out for sort of getting caught on the wrong side of something. And on the 4-hour time frame, you've got the 21 just above our heads. In fact, all of the moving average is kind of just above our heads here in terms of that. So the 4-hour time frame could be something to look at in terms of, it's obviously going to move more than the 24-hour time frame throughout the day. But here we have the 55 and the 21 right here, right above our heads at 160. You want to see the prices move above 160 if you're going to be moving towards 170 and trying that anyway overall in the 4-hour time frame. Should things continue negative and we break down below this 155 area, bear in mind that's now as well at the bottom of our wedge area. So we're looking out for fake outs all the way down to 150. Should we go past 150, then I suspect that we'll probably go down and test the 140 area. We've got the 200 simple moving average and perhaps even as far down as 136. So bear that in mind because these are shocking in terms of percentages. For instance, all the way down to 136 over there is 15%. So you can don't get too carried away in terms of any moves that you're making. And that really more or less sums us up for now. Let's take a quick look at the oscillators and see. Of course, that's all historical. This isn't actually a trend quite yet. It's consolidating, but we're in around here at the neutral zone. Yeah. So again, when you're looking at this thing, and you're right there at that neutral line right here in the asking the question. Is the blues above the 50 and the reds below 40? They're asking the questions about how we're going to shape up. This here looking like it could either do this where it comes towards each other and then they spring apart again and continue in the negative, which would be negative for now. This was and it was positive over here in the 3rd and 4th of April. Could do that sort of thing here. On the 5th and 6th of April is what I was talking about. Could do that sort of thing here, spring away up. Or it could do what it did maybe over here in the 31st of March where they were coming together and cross over. We're at that point, that's what I'm saying, where it's like neutral. There's very little to be going off of. There's the moving averages and whatnot, but we're inside this wedge here. It's over the weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend, moreover. So decrease in volume and liquidity and all the rest of it to be expected. Various little things on the go at the minute. Just going to have to try and wait till things pan out until Monday. Wouldn't be too carried away about anything. But in terms of the 4-hour time frame, should we go above 160, establish ourselves above 160? I know we're above 160 right now. You can see on the 4-hour time frame, I'm not talking about really, I suppose, is going up to 162, 163 and having the sort of the bottom of the candle where we opened at be it above 160 at that point, and stuff like that. Then we could be looking towards the 170 targets if you wanted to play this short term. And of course, like these sorts of things are big enough in terms of percentage moves. You got 6% there if you're going for that. Or indeed, should we not manage to do that, then it could probably come back down again and try this 155 area. So if you just want to play $5, then you can do that. I'm not a financial advisor, and that's financial advice. I certainly wouldn't be sort of trying right now necessarily though to choose which area we're going to on a longer term basis. The world's still in flux. We're in a bank holiday weekend during a pandemic in the world where the unemployment figures in America have skyrocketed to 17 million, and there ain't anybody counting at the minute because they're not at work and the other ones have been sacked. So we'll find out again that we go back Monday, might say 19 million unemployed, and might see 10% dropping it down, and then you'd see this drop down and whatnot or whatever. So let's just wait and see how things pan out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode. By the way, I say that and I say which will be tomorrow at the end of the episode. But of course I make link Tezos Bitcoin videos daily as well, and frequently do bonus videos. So I'll see you in the next episode for Ethereum, which is tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next episode I make on the channel. There will be 3 other ones today if you want to tune in for them. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, joining in, all that stuff. I hugely appreciate it. I can't iterate that enough. I'll be saying that until I pop my clocks. Catch you next time.